Imagine this. The United States is preparing one of the most complex military operations in recent history, a potential strike on Iran. Air Force One lands in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. American generals sit down with Saudi leadership and say, "We need to use your bases and your airspace." And Saudi Arabia looks back and says, "No." Then comes Qatar, Bahrain, the UAE. One by one, America's most important allies in the Middle East are publicly telling Washington, "Not from our soil, not this time." So what does the most powerful military in human history do when the entire neighborhood slams the door shut? It rewrites the entire playbook, it pulls out a secret weapon, and it launches from the edge of the world. Today, we are breaking down America's new backup strategy for a potential strike on Iran, one that involves dozens of flying gas stations, bases thousands of miles away, and a level of aerial logistics that the world hasn't seen since the Iraq War of 2003. This is the story happening right now, and every American needs to understand it. To understand what's happening right now, you need to understand the chain of events that brought us here. In June 2025, the United States carried out one of the most daring military operations in decades, Operation Midnight Hammer. 7 B-2 Spirit stealth bombers took off from an undisclosed location, flew thousands of miles, and dropped 14 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator, the most powerful non-nuclear bombs in the American arsenal, on Iran's most fortified underground nuclear facilities at Fordo and Natanz. Simultaneously, an American submarine launched over 30 Tomahawk cruise missiles that struck another nuclear site at Isfahan. The strikes, according to a July 2025 Pentagon assessment, set back Iran's nuclear program by roughly 2 years. Iran retaliated the very next day, launching a ballistic missile barrage at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, America's largest military installation in the entire Middle East. One missile got through the defenses and struck the base, damaging a radar dome. The U.S. had evacuated most of the aircraft before the missiles arrived, but the message from Iran was crystal clear. Strike us again, and we will hit you where you live. Now fast forward to February 2026. Iran is facing a massive nationwide uprising, the largest protests the country has seen in years, triggered by economic collapse and a weakening currency. President Trump has been making increasingly aggressive statements, warning Tehran against killing protesters. The U.S. military has been quietly building up a massive force in and around the region, and nuclear talks between Washington and Tehran have been moving at a crawl. The question hanging over every intelligence briefing, every war room, every allied capital in the world right now is simple. Is the United States about to strike Iran again? Before we get to the new strategy, let's talk about why losing Middle East base access is such a massive problem for the U.S. military. The American footprint in the Middle East is enormous. The U.S. operates somewhere between 30 and 40 military installations scattered across the region, hosting between 30,000 and 40,000 troops at any given time. The crown jewel is Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the forward headquarters of U.S. Central Command, housing around 10,000 personnel and serving as the nerve center for all American air operations across the Middle East, South Asia, and Central Asia. It is the largest American military base in the entire region. Then there's Naval Support Activity Bahrain, home to the U.S. Fifth Fleet, commanding American naval power across the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea, and the Arabian Sea. Al Dhafra Air Base in the UAE hosts stealth aircraft and advanced surveillance platforms. Muwafaq Salti Air Base in Jordan has now become a critical new hub, currently hosting approximately 35 F-15E Strike Eagles, F-35s, EA-18G Growlers, and A-10s as part of the current buildup. These bases exist because geography matters enormously in military planning. Iran is right there, close enough that strike aircraft can reach their targets, do their job, and return home with manageable fuel loads. Lose access to these bases, and the entire operational equation flips upside down. So, why exactly are America's closest regional partners drawing a red line? The answer is fear and calculation. In January 2026, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman personally called Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian to reassure him that Saudi territory and airspace would not be used for any military action against Iran. Saudi Arabia told Fox News directly, and I quote the senior Gulf official here, Saudi Arabia wouldn't allow airspace to be used in a war Saudi Arabia is not a part of. Qatar is in an even more complicated position. It hosts 10,000 American troops at Al Udeid, but Iran literally bombed that base in June 2025 as retaliation for the last round of U.S. strikes. Qatar publicly stated it opposes offensive strikes being launched from its territory, though American forces remain there. On January 14, 2026, hundreds of personnel were partially evacuated from Al Udeid as tensions rose again, a move American officials called a precaution, not a full withdrawal. Iran had already sent a direct warning to every country in the region. If the U.S. attacks us from your soil, we will strike your soil. And after what happened to Qatar's base in June 2025, these aren't empty threats. Iran's ballistic missiles demonstrated both precision and the ability to penetrate even heavily defended airspace. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Oman all intensified diplomatic efforts in January and February 2026, urging Washington to choose negotiation over military action, warning that airstrikes could unite Iranians behind the regime and trigger a regional conflagration that nobody can control. So America finds itself in an extraordinary situation, massing military power while its nearest partners quietly but firmly say, "Not from here." This is where it gets fascinating, because the United States military doesn't just have a plan A, it has a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D. And right now, what we're watching unfold in real time is what analysts are calling the perimeter strategy. Step 1. Shift the launch points to Europe. Instead of launching from Qatar or Saudi Arabia, bases that are 500 to 800 miles from Iranian targets, the U.S. is positioning aircraft much further away, primarily in Europe and on remote Indian Ocean islands. Right now, F-22 Raptors, America's most advanced air superiority fighters, have been repositioned from Langley Air Force Base in Virginia to RAF Lakenheath in the United Kingdom. F-35A Lightning II stealth fighters from Lakenheath and from the Vermont Air National Guard have been moving toward Jordan and deeper into the region. F-16 Fighting Falcons from Aviano Air Base in Italy and Spangdahlem Air Base in Germany have been tracked moving directly to Middle East bases. That's Europe serving as the staging ground. The aircraft are being positioned there so they are ready, but launched from outside Iran's immediate threat range. Step 2. Diego Garcia, the tiny, isolated atoll in the middle of the Indian Ocean, 2,358 miles from Iran, is one of America's most strategically vital but least talked about military bases in the world. It operates under British sovereignty, which means the politically messy question of Arab ally permissions simply doesn't apply. Diego Garcia has historically been home to B-2 Spirit bombers and B-52H Stratofortresses. The B-2s that flew Operation Midnight Hammer last June very likely launched from here. If the U.S. needs to strike Iran again without Middle East base access, Diego Garcia is the launching pad for the heaviest bombs in the American arsenal, including the GBU-57 bunker busters that are already being restocked according to February 2026 Air Force documents. Add to this a massive naval component. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group is currently deployed in the Arabian Sea. The USS Gerald F. Ford Carrier Strike Group has also been sent toward the region. Each carrier group brings with it F/A-18E Super Hornets, F-35C Lightning II fighters, EA-18G Growler EW jets, and destroyers capable of launching Tomahawk cruise missiles with a 1,000-mile range. Ohio-class guided missile submarines, which can carry up to 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles each, are positioned in the region, though their exact locations are, as always, classified. Now we reach the most extraordinary part of this entire strategy, the part that military analysts say is the single clearest indicator that something major is being planned. As of mid to late February 2026, open-source flight tracking data and intelligence analysts confirm that at least 87 KC-135 Stratotankers are either already in the CENTCOM theater, staged in Europe, or moving into position from bases across the continental United States. By January 22nd alone, at least 20 KC-135s had been confirmed at Al Udeid, far above normal levels. Let's put that in perspective. During the first phase of the Iraq War in March 2003, one of the largest American military operations since World War II, the U.S. operated approximately 149 KC-135 refuelers. We are currently approaching numbers in that range. One retired American flag officer, a senior military commander, told Responsible Statescraft, and I quote the senior Gulf official here, "Pulling the hammer back, strikes could occur any time now." He added, "There's a lot of movement. They're coming from all over the place. It's worldwide. That's always an indicator." The KC-135 Stratotanker is the backbone of aerial refueling, the ability of one aircraft to transfer fuel to another aircraft in mid-flight. This is what turns a 1,500-mile mission into a 4,000-mile mission. This is what allows an F-35 that takes off from England or a B-2 that launches from Diego Garcia to reach a nuclear bunker buried 300 feet underground in Fordo, Iran, and get back home alive. Multiple KC-135s and the newer KC-46A Pegasus tankers have been observed routing through RAF Mildenhall in the UK, through Ramstein Air Base in Germany, through Chania Airport in Greece, and onward toward Jordan and Qatar. Over 100 C-17 Globemaster III and C-5 Galaxy transport flights have moved equipment and personnel into the region. HH-60W Jolly Green II search and rescue helicopters, the aircraft used to rescue downed pilots, have also been quietly introduced into the CENTCOM area, which analysts note is a standard indicator of preparations for active combat operations. This is not a drill. This is the full machinery of American air power being assembled from multiple continents for a potential operation that would launch not from the comfortable bases next door to Iran, but from the far edges of American global reach. Now, here's the critical counter-narrative that prevents this from being a simple war is coming story. Running parallel to all of this military buildup is a genuine diplomatic track. In mid-February 2026, U.S. and Iranian officials began indirect nuclear talks in Geneva, mediated by Oman. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said the two sides had reached agreement on a set of guiding principles for a broader deal. President Trump set a 2-week deadline, saying he would decide between diplomacy and military action. His exact words and timeline carry historical weight, because on June 19, 2025, the White House issued a nearly identical 2-week statement. 3 days later, he ordered Operation Midnight Hammer. Whether this buildup is the opening act of another strike or an elaborate pressure campaign designed to force Iran to the negotiating table is a question that not even the best analysts in Washington can definitively answer right now. What is beyond dispute is that the United States has constructed a viable military option that does not require Saudi Arabia, Qatar, or the UAE to say yes. The perimeter strategy, the European staging, the carrier groups, the submarine fleet, and the armada of flying gas stations mean that America has effectively made its neighbors' political constraints irrelevant to its operational planning. Here's what you need to watch in the days and weeks ahead. The 2-week clock. Trump's diplomatic deadline means that by late February or early March 2026, a decision will have been made. Watch this carefully. Tanker numbers. If the KC-135 deployment continues to grow, approaching or exceeding 100 aircraft in or near the theater, that is the clearest military signal that active strike planning is underway. Diego Garcia satellite imagery. Open-source analysts are watching this base closely. If B-2 bombers are confirmed there, the strike clock starts ticking. Geneva talks. If the Omani-mediated nuclear talks produce a breakthrough, the military buildup becomes leverage rather than prelude. Watch whether Iran agrees to concrete limits on uranium enrichment. Iran's internal situation. The protests that triggered this crisis are still ongoing. Iran's government has killed over 2,000 demonstrators. If the regime escalates its crackdown further, Trump has made clear that American patience has limits.